Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is actually the last webinar of February 2016. It is the 9th webinar in a 9-part series designed for members and leadership teams to give you more information about BNI Connect. But don't worry about it. If you missed any of them, they're all recorded, and we're also going to repeat the entire series in the month of March. So if you find this information helpful, a good referral for me is to please let people know about the March series of webinars so that they can join us next month. So today's webinar is going to be about the online renewal process. And what we're going to do is step through the online renewal process, both as a member and as somebody from the leadership team, to see what this process looks like, to see all the different options and what you need to do in order to approve people and renew people and all of that fun stuff. Before we get started, we're going to just a couple of housekeeping things. This is a live webinar, as usual, unless, of course, you're listening to the recording. But if you have any questions as we're going through the material today, please just ask the question. The best way to ask the question is to type the question in. There's a little questions panel, and I will see that question pop up on the screen. I'll be able to answer it as we're going through the material. Of course, I'm always happy to stay on the call until every single question is answered, so I will open it up for questions at the end as well. In addition to that, we are recording this, so we'll be able to find it on the YouTube channel as well as on our support site, and I'll show you those resources a little bit later. So this particular webinar is just shy of about 30 minutes to go through this process, but as I said before, if you need more time for questions, I am here for you. So let's take a look at the online renewal process, and this is going to be a combination of PowerPoint and some live material in BNI Connect as well as we step through it. So as an overview, renewing a membership online really follows the same process as a paper application. So for the most part, a member submits an application. Then the membership committee and the vice president needs to review that application. Once they have reviewed the application, they still need to have a membership committee meeting in person to review that. And once they do that, the vice president then goes in and renders the decision in BNI Connect. So keep in mind, this is not an online voting process for the approval. It is just a means of the VP recording the decision electronically. And then the final step of this process is that the regional office is notified that these have been done, and they reconcile the payment, whether that's cashing the check or whether it is the process of making sure that the credit card went through. All right, so let's take a look at how this process works. So from the member perspective, if anybody has ever filled out a form online to pay for something, it's a pretty straightforward process, but let's break it down for you. There's 4 different ways that a member can start the application process. All right, they can start it by clicking on the Renew Now link in the reminder email. So all members get a reminder email. It's usually sent out 60 days before the membership is due, so 2 months before your membership is up for renewal. You get an email saying, hey, by the way, you're coming up for renewal soon. Would you like to renew now? In that email, click a link, boom, it brings you to the site, and they can start the renewal process. The second way is on a lot of the regional websites, they've put up a link that says Renew Now. And if you click the Renew Now up on the regional website, that will also start the renewal process. The third way is that there is a Renew Now link on the home screen. So if all of those other emails went into the spam filter, you still see a Renew Now link whenever you log into BNI Connect. And then finally, there is the button on the main profile tab of a membership record. No matter where you click it, it all brings you to the same place, which is the application. And actually, there's a 5th way that's not listed here. And the 5th way is that if your membership committee pre-approves your membership, you will get a notification saying, congratulations, you've been pre-approved for renewal. Would you like to start that renewal process now? So this is just a view of what that email looks like. So you can see that there's a link here that says Renew Now on the left-hand side. There's also a link down towards the bottom that says Renew Now. So all you need to do is you click that link, You do have to log in to BNI Connect at that point because the renewal form is behind closed doors. It is within the logged in portion of BNI Connect. This is just a couple of examples. If you happen to be in one of these areas on your regional websites, in BNI Minnesota, for example, you can see the Renew Now button looks like that. BNI Heartland, which is the Dakotas regions, we have the Renew Now button there. And there's a third option, BNI Arizona has their Renew Now button over there. So there's could look a number of different ways, different size buttons, different fonts, all that, but they all take you to the same place. So let's see what that looks like for a member. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as one of my test members. And one of my members in the Antarctica region in the Burr chapter is Marky Mark. Marky Mark from the Funky Bunch. Let's log in as Mark here. And what we'll see is that Mark has the Renew Now button right here on the home screen. So that's one of the ways, if he didn't get the emails, that he could, anytime he needs to, log in and just click on Renew Now. So this is just a standard renewal application. Basically, fill out the form. The important thing is that they do need to choose whether they're going to be doing a 1-year or a 2-year renewal, and the fee will change automatically. And if there's taxes and things like that, whatever calculations need to be done, but they do need to choose appropriately, 1-year or 2-year. And then they just need to answer the questions. Now, the questions are going to be a little bit different depending on what country that you happen to be in, and they'll hopefully be in your appropriate language as well. But right now, these are just some test questions for Antarctica, so I'm just going to go through and answer these. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, if yes, please list. We can choose any of these other answers. What would I like to be considered for? Now, the next part of this, the bottom part, we can agree to all the terms and policies. There's also here a way to just to check to make sure all your member details are correct. So if I click this little plus sign, I can review any of my details. Now, if I do that, if I do make any changes, because you notice that it does give us the ability to make changes. So let's say that Marky Mark wants to change professions. He would have the ability to apply for that particular profession. So let's say he wants to get into I don't know, entertainment as a musician. He can do that. Well, if somebody does change categories, the leadership team will be extra notified about it. They get an extra email saying, by the way, pay special attention to this one. Marky Mark is applying for a different position. When that's all complete, we can agree to that and proceed to the payment page. All right, at that point, the application has been submitted. It is fully submitted at that point, and some email notifications go out, and the member will get a copy of that application as well. And the leadership team will be notified that a membership application has been input. From here, I just choose my payment type, depending on what your region accepts for payment, whether it's cash, check, credit card only, rolled coins, whatever it might be. You can choose your method of payment. And there'll be any special instructions. For example, in Antarctica, we want them to mail the check or hand deliver the check up to a certain address. If not, give it to Steve. So that's what we're doing up in Antarctica, but your region may have different instructions. Once I click submit, now the process is complete, and the membership committee will now get a notification saying, hey, by the way, Marky Mark just input an application. Please go and review that application. And for the most part, that is it. That's all there is to it from a member perspective. Just click on renew and input the application. Does anybody have any questions on the application process for a member? If so, please just type that question in. I will be happy to answer that question. All right, so moving on to the next part of this. Just to review, the member completes the application, they choose their payment type, and there are a number of notifications that get sent. For example, Marky Mark will get a copy of his application via email, and the leadership team will get notified. For example, I happen to be on the leadership team of the Burr chapter. And here we have the notification saying, congratulations, a new renewal application has been received from Marky Mark. Please go ahead and approve this renewal. All right, and for the most part, that completes the member side of the process. So now what we need to do is let's take off our member hat, and we're going to put on our leadership team hat, most specifically, usually the vice president and the membership committee. Now, a couple of notes about online renewals and approvals. All online renewals need to be approved through BNI Connect. Online application, online approval. If they do hand in a paper application or a paper renewal, that does not get approved online. That just follows the traditional paper process. But all online renewals must be approved online in order to be completed. There's different levels of renewal. We can just flat out approve one. They can be full, conditional, or denied. So once the membership committee has met, and I do emphasize that the membership committee still needs to have a meeting about every single renewal. So after the membership committee has met, then the vice president will go in and render that decision. And that decision, again, can be full, conditional, or denied. And we'll get into that in just a few minutes. There's a pre-approval process and a post-approval process. So what that means is that if you have members in your chapter that are coming up for renewal, in some areas, the membership committee can have their membership committee meeting and say, hey, look, John, Sue, and Bob, they're due for renewal in 2 months or 3 months. They haven't submitted their application yet, but we know we're going to approve them. You can register that pre-approval, and when the person does their renewal, it just finishes the process right there. So you can get ahead of the steps by doing pre-approvals. A post-approval, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. You wait until the person has put in their application, then you review it and go in and approve it. And keep in mind that your regional office cannot complete this transaction until you have marked your approval. All right, so there's a couple of different ways for the pre-approval to happen. So the pre-approval, a member can click the link on the renewal reminder email. So every membership committee person, every vice president, the leadership team, the director consultant, they get a email 90 days with a list of all of the members that are due for renewal in 90 days. In that email, there is a link that says, click here to pre-approve this member. That will bring you to the pre-approval screen. Now, if you don't get that, or you lose that email, or you deleted it, it went to spam, whatever it might be, you can also do the pre-approvals through the membership dues report. That's what MDR stands for, the membership dues report. So let's take a look at that process for the leadership team. All right, so I'm here as Marky Mark. I need to log out as Marky Mark. So let me sign out as Marky Mark, and I'm going to sign in as the vice president of my chapter in Antarctica, which is Alf. Whoops. There we go. So let's log in as Alf. Alf is the nickname for Alfred E. Newman. He is my vice president in the Burr chapter. Now, in order to get to the membership dues report, we are going to have to go and take a little tour beyond the home page here. Those are located in the reports. So if I go to reports, the third report down is the membership dues report. And on the membership dues report, if your region is allowing pre-approvals, you will see a member renewal column here. If you don't see that column, you either don't have permission to do pre-approvals or your region isn't allowing pre-approvals. In the Burr chapter, we are allowing it. So what I could do is I could look through the list and say, hey, you know what? Jacob Goodwin is going to be due on May 1st, and email check member is going to be due on March 1st. I think we're going to go ahead and pre-approve them. I can click the little red head here, and this will bring me to the pre-approval screen. When I'm on this screen, this allows me to review the membership. So when I'm reviewing this membership, I can see the name and when their renewal date is, and I can look at their last 6 months of performance. I can see that email check here has only been present to 5 meetings, hasn't really passed any referrals or anything like that. He has been thanked for $12,345 of business and as a CEU at least. I can also click on training details. That'll open up a new screen here and bring me over to email check member's profile. I can see that he hasn't taken any training. I can also see that he really hasn't taken much time to fill out his profile here either. So in real life, we may think twice about pre-approving email check here, but in my test system, that we're going to give him the thumbs up. First thing we have to do is to check this box. We have to certify that all necessary membership performance reviews. In other words, we had a membership committee meeting. I am certifying that we had a membership committee meeting. I can say whether this is a conditional pre-approval or a control letter has been sent for that pre-approval. And then I just go ahead and click pre-approve. That will then render that pre-approval decision. And you'll notice that the buttons have gone away. Now, if I go back to the membership dues report here, we can then go in if we need to and pre-approve any other members. All right, so that's the pre-approval process for a vice president. Most of the time, a membership committee, what they'll end up seeing there is the ability to review the membership, but they won't have the ability to actually click the button to pre-approve. All right, so let's go back to our slideshow here. The second option, if you have not pre-approved somebody once they've submitted an application, is that you can post-approve them. So you can approve the application that they have submitted. So we do this by 2 different ways again. There's always multiple ways to do things. One of which is when you get that renewal link, there will be an approval link within that renewal email. So that example is what I showed you just before. We can see here, this is the email that I got when Marky Mark went ahead and renewed, and we have a link here to say, okay, go ahead and approve this renewal, or I can go in and view all of the pending applications. So that's what these 2 links are within that email. The second way is I can just go to the View Pending Applications screen. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to go back into the system. Now the View Pending Applications, that's going to be under Operations. So if I go to the Operations menu, and under Manage Memberships, View Pending Applications. And when I get to View Pending Applications, we can see Marky Mark here from the Burr chapter. He has a renewal application that has been submitted. Has the office, basically accepted payment yet? No. And we have a link to go ahead and approve this. If I click this link, you'll notice that this page is very similar to the pre-approval page. The differences are that we have an option to decline as well, but we still can review the person's performance. We can go view their training details. The other difference is that there is also a PDF file that has the full application. So I can always go in and review that person's full application here. And if I need to, if I want to print out a copy of this for the president's box or save it or whatever else I might need to do with it, I can review the answers to his questions. And when I'm ready to go, I can choose to, again, certify that we had the meeting and then approve or decline. A couple of notes. Approving it, obviously we've done that before. That closes out this process. Declining, I want to be very clear. Decline does not kick them out of BNI. It does not kick somebody out of BNI. That particular action would have to come from the membership committee. You'd have to use the control letters. You have to meet with the member. That does not happen via an electronic email. Even if a person is declined, they still have the rest of the membership to use up the remainder of their time if they choose to. It does not notify the person. It does, however, notify the leadership team and the regional office and the director consultant that a decline has been registered for a member. A decline can be overturned if necessary by the regional office. You'll notice also that there's a big yellow highlighted band here that says this renewal application was submitted with changes to the name, company, or category. So they're telling you to please, please, please review that before you just go ahead and approve it. So now I'm going to go ahead and approve this one. And now, basically, the process is complete for Marky Mark. Marky Mark is now approved, renewed, and ready to continue. And we did just get a notification here letting us know that Marky Mark's renewal application has been approved. And basically that process is complete now. All right, so that is the process for the leadership team. So just to review, the membership committee reviews the renewal applications and member performance. Again, this needs to happen as a membership committee meeting, and it happens offline. Then the leadership team member, usually the vice president, will go in and render the decision. Again, it is not a voting platform. It is just to record the decision of the membership committee. And then finally, the region will do their part of the review and reconcile the transaction as needed. All right, as I mentioned, as I showed you, there's a bunch of emails that go out during this whole process to keep everybody in the loop as to what's happening and what step we're at. So prior to the renewal, there's a bunch of different emails that go out. The renewal reminder that goes to the membership committee. There's also a reminder that goes to the member. If a member does get that reminder and chooses to opt out, so in that renewal reminder email, it says, please renew now, and then in little 1-point font we put, or if you'd like to opt out. No, I'm just kidding. It's in regular 12-point font that says if you'd like to opt out at this time, please click this button, and that will send a notification that the person has opted out. It'll send that notification to the regional office, to the director consultant, president, vice president, and secretary treasurer. To me, that is a kind of last minute warning, canary in the coal mine, letting you know that this member may be leaving the chapter, and if there's anything that you might be able to do to salvage that relationship. There's also the pre-approval email, and then during the online renewal, there's a number of different emails that get sent to the member when they've paid and when the renewal's been submitted and when there's a payment has been received and when the member changes any details. After the online renewal, there is also the approved, the payment requested if they hadn't done the payment yet, and finally the announcements for either the approval or the decline. Now, if you happen to be in a position here, whether you're a regional administrator or whether you're on the membership committee, if you're curious which emails you will get, here is the list of emails by person. So you can see the vice president and the director, they do get quite a few emails during this whole process. All right, so I'd like to open this up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions about the renewal process for leadership teams and members? I would love to answer those questions now. All right, Frank. Oh, good question, Frank. Frank says, if a member submits a 1-year renewal but wanted to submit a 2-year renewal, how do you fix that? So if a member submits a 1-year renewal instead of a 2-year renewal, or a 2-year renewal instead of a 1-year renewal, unfortunately, there's no way to go back and just undo it. You do have to contact your regional office. The regional office can then void that application, and they can start the process over again. So again, they have to void the application and start the process over again. But thank you. Very good question. Any other questions? The only silly question is the unasked question. All right, I don't see any more questions popping up. So what I'm going to do is say thank you guys so much for being here and closing out this webinar series with me. There's some more resources for you should you need them. We have the support site, support.bniconnect.com. We also have our YouTube channel. I'll have this video uploaded to the YouTube channel very shortly. We also have our Facebook. I'd love it if you gave us a like on Facebook. We do announcements and reminders and all sorts of stuff up on our Facebook channel. We also have our Twitter feed, and if you'd like to get in touch with me, support@bniconnect.com is my email address. All right, so on that note, I'm going to say once again, thank you. I look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. A good referral for me is to please let people know about the March series of webinars. You can find them on your regional calendar, on the support site that's listed in front of you, and on bniamerica.com as well. In the meantime, happy connecting.